Yeah.
It will stay there.
It'll always stay there. It will always stay there. So when it comes to how much is, and especially because we're talking about teenagers, we're talking about how teenagers should be negotiating internet to be able to use it as an effective tool of communication and yet keeping themselves safe and secure.
Yeah.
So not just as do's and don'ts, but the broad guidelines that you give to your students when they're on internet or when they're using the social media.
First of all, there are, I'm sure, many, you know, I don't know, we think that teenagers are not private anymore, or they put everything in public. Maybe this is a myth. Maybe some of them do, that's true, but we can't generalize. So I know many of my students are very concerned about the privacy settings. And some things they only put to their friends, so that their friends can see them. Some things are public, they know, they choose, you know, in the menu who to see it, who doesn't see it. Some things are there only for their family. And also there are groups, and once it's a closed group, then what you post in that group remains there. So these are the things that teenagers should be aware of. But then there are peer pressure, for instance. There's cyberbullying, and the students want to be part of a clique. They want to be part of a group, and today we measure our. Well, we're constantly, you know, want to prove ourselves, and we measure how good we are or how trendy we look by getting likes. So then you end up posting whatever makes the most likes.
Yeah,
no?
absolutely, absolutely. We're completely driven by how many likes are there on our page, and you know, so it's, like you said, it's a conscious choice that one has to make, very conscious and not a hasty one. So just about, you know, you're feeling impulsive and you go and post something. What you do not realize is even when we've deleted, what we don't realize is even if we have deleted it, stays in the cyberspace somewhere. Yeah. And what is actually just coming out in that moment of impulse is becoming a thought forever recorded out there. So you may or may not agree to that in the next moment, but unfortunately it's there.
Yes, and sometimes, you know, the youngsters don't have like, they can't regulate themselves, or they're not capable enough like adults. Mind you, not that adults regulate themselves all the time.
Absolutely, I completely agree.
I have friends who are posting the pictures of their children, youngsters, and all the time. So,
yeah.
But yes, maybe a teenager, you know, would say, I can risk this. It's not a problem. Nothing will happen to me. And when you're in a box, when you're in a room with your laptop on you, and you've been there already for a couple of hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, you forget that with just one click, it's going, everybody can see what you're putting out there.
Absolutely, absolutely, and one has to be conscious of that. And you did talk about cyberbullying, and that's what I want. So the book that you've written, which is Frape, I would want you to explain to our audience what the concept of the book is, and give them the context of the stories, because this is it will resonate as much within the Indian audience as it is resonating with the Maltese audience. So do tell them about the book and what fraping means and how it is used in the cyberspace.
So first of all, a side comment. I distributed a few sheets of paper with the QR code, and if you scan that code, it takes you to the first few pages of the book in English. This is unfortunately in Maltese, and it's not yet published in English, but the translation is already done. So today you can read the first few pages, later, whatever, tomorrow, whenever you want, of the book. And also you will listen to me read another piece today. But Frape, how did it come about? So I already told you I teach 16 to 18-year-olds. And one day in the canteen, I heard some girls screaming, and they were saying, I got fraped. Someone fraped me. I didn't even know what this word is, so I went to Google it. It doesn't come up immediately, but you can find it in the Urban Dictionary.
Can I please ask before, sorry to interrupt, but how many of you actually know what fraping is? Can you please raise your hands? People who know what fraping is.
Okay.
See, there you go.
This is very common here where I
It
teach.
isn't.
Because, and what happens is that someone goes onto your Facebook page, on your Facebook wall, and rapes it. So F is for Facebook, rape is for Facebook, rape. And why rape? Because they put things that you wouldn't normally put. Or they put things instead of you. They post pictures that you might have on your mobile or on your computer, and you wouldn't normally do that. So that's raped. And how does this happen? It happens because when students are in the canteen, they leave their mobiles around, they leave their laptops around, they go to talk to this and to that, they go to the loo, and their mobile is there, it's not logged, so their friends make jokes. It all starts with a joke. One famous, very, very famous joke is that they changed the birthday. So, for instance, if someone rapes me today and he or she changes the birthday to tomorrow, I will receive tons of birthday wishes on the day which is not my birthday. So that's okay. That's a funny joke, and it's okay. But once it gets nastier or out of control, or if there is someone who doesn't really like you, or if there's someone who, yeah, then raping could be very, very bad. Also, this girl, you will listen to it in a while, Melissa, when she realizes that her public persona is now out there without her consent, she's horrified. She doesn't know what to do, and in this act of panic, she leaves her house. She needs some time alone. She thinks now that everything is falling apart. All her friends will leave her because some of her pictures were posted without her knowing, and she doesn't want to show these pictures to everyone.
You know, there's a very interesting, the other example that I have for you, which was used by Facebook, how Facebook was used as a tool of empowerment by this girl, which went viral a few weeks ago, and I'm sure most of you must have seen it. I'm not going to name the girl, but this girl, so basically somebody hacked her account, took out the pictures that she may have sent to her boyfriend in complete confidence, and this is in with consent and some of the pictures. Anyway, somebody hacked the account and wrote a mail saying that I have all your nude pictures and I have the list of your contacts, and I'm going to send out these pictures to those people, including your professional, your colleagues, your family members, your parents, and everybody. And they, it was a very, very nasty blackmailing email. This young girl, went to Facebook and made that email public, saying that I do not care, I give a damn about the threats that I know who you are, and here is your, this is the person who is trying to blackmail me, and yes, I sent some nude pictures to my boyfriend, but he knows it and I know it, and my parents know about the relationship, and I don't care how you're going to judge me. So here's a very interesting, in fact, the other side of the story, where a teenager went out and used Facebook to her advantage.
Yeah.
So coming back to Frape, the story that the story that we're talking about also has one other character who's not on social media. So the interesting contrast that you have built, would you like to talk about that? So how does being on social media make you different from somebody who's not? Does it really matter to a 15-year-old? And if it does, how does it affect them?
I think yes, nowadays it does. So in this book there is Melissa, who's raped by her friends, Kim and Amy. And then there is Eileen, who works in her father's confectionery. And they're all the same age, they're all 16-year-olds. But Eileen had to leave school early at about 14 because her mother died and her father needed a hand. And she's the only daughter he has. And because of this, she doesn't have friends. But because I'm sure, if I were her, I wouldn't calculate friends from Facebook. But this is the world today. Since she's not on social media, it means she doesn't have friends. And she also doesn't have friends, so she doesn't even need Facebook, because who would she have as friends? She's always there in the shop, selling things to the customers. Melissa, on the other hand, she lives on Facebook. Her only friends are on Facebook.
Yeah.
She doesn't even think that someone could not have Facebook. She doesn't even think that she could have friends who don't own a Facebook page or a Twitter, because we're not mentioning the other social media sites, no? I know.
Yeah.
Any other Snapchat or whatever.
No, we'll come to Snapchat.
We will come to Snapchat soon, yes. But at least this scraping business makes these two young ladies meet. And at the end, they find there is, another type of friendship, which is not always online, which is not just speaking to the computer and liking everybody else's photos or posts and posting yourself. And so, yes.
So another kind of friendship, another kind of education also. So how the teenagers are, my children, for example, are using internet for their education. So every project that has to go, every holiday homework that they have to submit, everything is sourced out of internet. But what I
mind you, Anu, I mean, I see other pages then. For instance, at the moment, there is this page at our college, which is Stop Racism or Stop Hate Speech. And the comments that the youngsters put there, I mean, incredible. They can voice their thoughts now. I never had this opportunity to voice my thoughts about racism or about hate speech or about anything of this sort immediately. And the good work, is also done on pages like this, no?
Yeah. So very interesting point. So there's good work and there is not so good work, and there's security issues and there are privacy issues. So therefore, coming back to the question that we're trying to answer through this session, how does one really negotiate and keep
a balance,
keep a balance, maintain that balance?
I think this is important, that parents have to be computer literate as well, but not be policemen. They have to negotiate. I'm not a parent myself, so I don't have kids myself, but since I've been teaching for quite some time teenagers, I know that with a battle, you can never get through. So it's just negotiating that helps. So I give you something, you give me something back. I tell you something, you tell me something back. Not everything. But then, parents have to know about privacy issues. They have to talk to their teenagers. And even the teenagers themselves, amongst themselves, they have to be aware that there are a lot of dangers out there. And they have to limit, at least, themselves and try, to regulate their posts and their pictures. Because once it's there, it will never go.
The purpose is not to scare them, really.
No.
But what are the dangers that one could possibly face on internet, through internet?
So Snapchat is one.
We've talked about cyberbullying, so yeah.
And Snapchat is one of the dangers, because you post you chat with your friends via pictures most of the time. And the picture does not stay online. Actually, it disappears in 10 seconds. So you would think that once it disappears in 10 seconds, it's not there anymore. But in those 10 seconds, there are so many other people that can save that picture and then show it somewhere else or in the future. And that could get you to dangerous things, even not immediately maybe, but even in the future.
So that's again, it is bringing us back to the same. Actually, the only solution that one has, or one could offer, or aid negotiating.
Yes, definitely.
And be
balancing,
and also making very, very conscious choices while one is on internet.
Yeah. And probably one more thing. I know it's sometimes very difficult not to be peer pressured, but you have to think that you're good, you're beautiful, all of you, and you don't have to do what other people tell you. You don't have to do what your friends tell you. If your friends measure you with likes on a picture that they want you to post, then they're not your friends. Then you just tell them, no, I'm not doing this. Thank you very much.
So yes, knowing the audience that you are interacting with, even through through internet. So and choosing them very carefully, just as you choose your friends in real life, choosing your friends in the virtual world also is
Yeah.
very, very important. Because we're talking about friendship and because we're talking about how
Absolutely.
to choose your friends, would you like to read some part of the
Okay.
book? And actually, because the place is called Samvad, which means dialogue, and this has to be an interactive session because, after all, I know there'll be several questions, especially from the youngsters. So after the reading, we would like to open the house for the discussion. So please, if there's any particular question that you would want to ask Claire, feel free to.
So I have two short pieces. One is The Act of Fraping by Kim and Aim. They take this smartphone from Melissa's handbag and go to the playing field and see what they can do with it. And then the second piece is a monologue. It's going all through Melissa's head, and this is when she realizes that she's framed and she leaves her house. The time is 6:30 p.m. Across the road, Aim. Come on. To the playing field. Isn't it better to stay close? Plus, there's free Wi-Fi. Why don't you come over to my place? 'Cause we don't have a lot of time, Aim. Yeah, okay. Just take it easy. I've got a new pair of shoes on. Over there. We won't be able to see anything over there. Jesus. Will you stop complaining? Oh, damn it. What? I mean, it's cold and I'm wearing high heels and stuff. This iPhone's really cool. Can I have a look, please? No, wait. Let me read you this. I don't want to listen to Dean's texts, thanks. Easy, you're going to break it. Right. Let's see what music she's into. Adele? Pixie Lott? Yuck. Valerio Scano? Lady Gaga? Bleh. Know what we should do? What? Give it here, I'll tell you. Hey, Kim, chill. Let's frape her. What? Don't tell me you never heard that before. No, of course I have. Cool. I mean, okay. But how? Yeah, right, sure. You've heard it before. So we get onto Facebook, right? Onto her profile, I mean. But is it still connected? Yeah, look, I'm online. Cool. And now we just write something. You mean on her profile? Yes. Like we're pretending to be her. I see. Frape. F for Facebook, rape for rape. And you had no idea what it meant. What are you going to write? How about whole lot of lovemaking and lip gloss and stuff? Whoa, that's like the kind of status she had this morning. Done. Already? Yep. Let me see. Shall we write something else? Sure, but let's not overdo it. Else, her friends will know she's been framed and she'll get all the sympathy and, well, you know. Okay, so how about we change her profile picture? Sure. But let's not overdo it. Good, well, let's see. This one, Dean, this one, another Dean, this one, Mel and Dean. Mel and Liz, Mel and Kira, Luke, Mel and Luke. Wow, look at this one. Cool. Use that one. Come on, just the one. Damn it, no, what? It's gone offline. Ah, we're jinxed. Come on, boy, come on. Hold it up a little higher. That's right, there, it's online again. Okay, let's see. So give me a moment. Why do you always want to do it all by yourself? Here, you choose. This one's cool. So's this one. Yeah, that one's cool too. All right, let's make this one. Done. Shall we write a caption for the picture? Same thing we wrote in the status. So Dean starts to smell a rat. Right. So whole lot of love making and lip gloss and stuff. Miss you, Luke? Bitch. Come on, it's just a joke. And don't you dare breathe the words to anyone. Thanks, nice to feel trusted. Think she suspects it was us. We should just chuck the phone. What? I'm definitely not going to put it in the post for her now. Oh, look, people are liking it already. Look how many likes. Cool. Post a few more pictures then. She's got these pictures, look, where she's posing in front of the mirror. Man, she's such a bitch.
Post them so everyone knows what she's like. She's always the one who gets chosen in plays and in dances. It's always Melissa. Melissa gets everything. Melissa, oh, Melissa, yuck. Okay, seriously now? I am officially a serial fraper. What are you on about? It's a Facebook status. Oh, you're a bit slow today. Thanks. Right, so she's got the one in front of the mirror. She's got this one wearing a sexy bra. And this one, oh, on her bed. Oh my God. What shall we call the album? Underpants and ice cream. For Luke's eyes only. Not bad. No, I have a better one. Voulez-vous coucher avec moi? Yeah, that's cool. That's fast. Good. Can I write something else now, please? Depends on what you're planning to write. Will you please trust me for once? I've had this bra since my 5th. Is that what you're going to write? Yes. I've had this bra since my 5th, but I love it so much that I don't want to throw it away, and oh my God, come on. And oh, even these Hello Kitty panties. I've had them since the 5th, and they were a gift from my ex, which is why I haven't thrown them away yet. Okay, I think now that's enough. Well, so, what's next? Shall we chuck it? Where's the nearest bin? I know there's one. Next to the confectionery shop. The time is now 20:45. Melissa set herself down on the pavement and leaned back against the rubbish skip, quiet, like a discarded sofa abandoned. She drew her knees up to her chin and wrapped her arms around them. They pressed against her nipples. Her hair was completely pulled back. It too brushed against the white skip in the dark. No sound. Probably because it was a Tuesday, or else it was because of the cold that she could feel cut into her skin and settle over all her bones, especially her back. Because she'd left home in a rage and hadn't even bothered to take a jacket. And there was no way she was going back because she couldn't bear the sight of another person. Without even a lamppost in sight, the dark made this place feel more isolated than ever. She'd crawl into one of the skips, if she could. In the piercing stink and stomach-churning cold, her heart was gripped by nausea. With her feet dug into the muck that had left a stain on her eyeballs, she let her head loll backwards. None of what had happened made any sense. Her legs were trembling. She drew her arms tighter. The trembling stopped. She didn't want to remember. She had no strength left to get angry. She couldn't even scream. Then she turned her face to one side and threw up everything that was making her feel sick. Lot of love making and lip gloss and stuff. They had some cheek. Whoever had done this. If they were the ones, she'd pay them back, big time. Because not only they had completely ruined her lesson, they'd nicked her mobile and then played this dirty trick. And all because they were once friends and now they weren't anymore? She stared at the skip in front of her, gave it a kick. It didn't budge. She felt sorry for it, so lonely over there. Then she remembered that she too had nobody left. No, it couldn't have been them. They've been through all the primary and the secondary school together. They wouldn't go that far. Even if they'd changed beyond all recognition and she couldn't stand them anymore, but even if they'd suddenly turned into this whole lot of snootiness and dirty looks and stuff, oh, come on, it couldn't be them. She must have other enemies then. Kurt? Maybe. With her face still turned aside and her chin against her shoulder, she wiped her mouth on her sleeve and wrapped her arms around her legs again. She squashed them hard against her chest. She let her head loll back and thought about what had happened. Just didn't make any sense. With her eyes still closed, the silence continued to torment her, persistent as a mosquito, for about 15 minutes or so, a bit longer, maybe 20, not much longer than that, until she heard footsteps approaching. Damn it! Even here? She'd been found? She didn't want to be found. Just this one time, please. She wanted to be on her own, trapped amid the sadness of the rubbish skips that surrounded her in the cold. But it was useless, because she could still hear them approaching, getting even closer. Boom, boom, boom. The tread of someone big and heavy. She caught her breath. They continued to approach. Or weren't they human steps after all? She couldn't be sure. A rat? A dog, maybe? She ducked her head down further. Boom! A loud thump against the skip. A kick much stronger than hers. Boom! Bastard! How I hate him. I could kill him, that bastard. I'll get away. See if I don't get away from him. Oh, never see me again. He won't never see me again. Then he'll have to figure it out all for himself. A few more knocks against the skip. Punches this time, not kicks. But these weren't immense punches. It was a woman's voice. Or a girl's. She didn't budge. She cursed. Even here in this dump, there was no peace to be hid. But she didn't move. She screwed her eyes shut as tightly as she could and willed the whiteness to hide her.
All I have to say it, please get it translated as fast as you can. And please let's have this book in India as well because it is as relevant. The context is the same. I could actually hear these conversations. The names are different, but really, what a teenager goes through here is no different from what a teenager goes through in Malta
Or anywhere, I would say.
and or anywhere else in the world. We've heard about MMS, you know, the scandals, and we've heard about hacking, and we've heard about all these very scary stories of what
And false identities, which we
false
don't
identities, bullying, what technology can do, how it can create havoc in our lives. And I don't want to sound as morbid, and therefore I think even though I had decided that we'll not talk about the do's and the don'ts, but I think we need to reiterate the do's and the don'ts, not only just for the teenagers, but also for the parents. And let's do it as a quick recap of what are the things that parents should be aware of. So when you know they know that what are the time, what kind of freedom should the children get, teenagers especially, when they're using the internet, what are the kind of security settings that one must have, what are the things that parents can do in order to know how and you know what their
I know parents, for instance, who track the history. You know, if you
Is it a
look,
good thing or a bad thing?
no, this is a bad thing. I would never do it. But parents sometimes do. They track the history of the pages that their children went on in the last week, for instance. I think this would push your children away. No,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
this is one of the don'ts.
So what is the judicious way of dealing with that?
So I think I would. I don't know, with my students, you know, sometimes I go on profiles and I see that everything's public. And I know this student very well, so I go and talk to her and I tell her, Anu, look, you know, I went on your Facebook page by coincidence. And I've seen it's all public. All you're putting there, do you know it's all public? Do you know there are privacy settings that you can, you know, activate? And do you know you can share things amongst your friends only? Or amongst your parents only? And some of them don't. So maybe if we as educators don't tell them, parents can tell them. If parents don't tell them, then we as educators can tell them. If not even the educators can reach them, then their friends, then the teenagers should know and be aware of what there is and, you know.
How they can be exploited and
Yeah.
how they have to be safe. So that actually pretty much sums up the conversation that we wanted to have. And if there are questions from the audience, but before that, actually, can I ask just one last question? You were talking about how the story idea came to you while you were in the canteen, but we had to sort of somewhere, it got interrupted. So would you like to please tell us the background of how this, the Frape book came about?
So as you can see, it's a very, very small book. It was published about 4 years ago in Maltese. It came about from these young girls and boys at my school. I used to teach them, and this was a really nice bunch of students. I really used to like enjoying the lectures that I had with them. It's also dedicated to them. And then what happened after getting to know what Frape is, I started talking to them about this business because I had no idea it existed. I didn't know how it works, what could happen, what are the dangers of it, if it really happens. And after a few conversations, what's next? Then you go home and start, putting on your ideas. So it's not just what they tell me. It's also a little bit of imagination. It's a little bit of research, and until it comes up, I can put them all together. And there was this book. It was written very, very quickly because it's a very tiny book. It's tiny. It's also like a smartphone, which students can put here in their jeans. Because they never have time for anything. They only have time for Facebook, and they only have time for chatting. So at least such a small book, which could be read in 2 hours, maybe even less, can be taken everywhere, and it's not heavy. And and then what happens next? And then I speak to my publisher. I give my manuscript to my publisher. We choose a design, and it goes off to print.
And what has been the response like from the teenagers?
Sorry?
What has been the response like from the teenagers?
Well, this has sold a lot. I had a very, very good response. Because then, like Facebook, like the likes. So if teenagers see this book in someone's hand, and especially if this person is cool, everyone wants the book. And it's red, and it's shiny, and it's,
And it's also about, quote-unquote a trend.
Yes.
Negative one though, but yeah.
But also, Anu, I think we should say that the ending of the book is not a negative ending. There's hope, there's new friendship, and yes.
So hopefully that actually makes us very, very hopeful about the fact that, okay, from the virtual world, ultimately we'll all come back to the real world, and we'll make some real friendships, and we'll forge some very, very real relationships, and we'll know how to use both the worlds very, very wisely. And now we would like to open the house for the questions. Any questions?
So my question is, can you hear me first?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So my question is that when this new Facebook possibility, was made aware, everybody was excited, and they did not know the pros and cons of Facebook, but over time, people have been, been aware of all the consequences. So do you think that the teenagers are now more wiser, and they are using it more wisely compared to when Facebook was newly introduced? So I think in conversations like this, and in classroom conversations, and everybody alerting the dangers of Facebook, do you think that there is a change, or it's still the same? People are still impulsive. What is the trend?
I cannot generalize now, but yes, I'm sure that our teenagers are wise enough. They know more probably than we do.
Absolutely.
And yes, of course, it's totally different. As I said before, Anu, I have friends my age that are putting on Facebook all their children's pictures. And how embarrassing is that going to be when they are 13, 14, and they have their own Facebook then? So yes, let's not, think that teenagers are all hypersensitive or not know what dangers are there.
And also I feel that the dialogue that we're talking about right now, is the conversations that we're talking about right now have become more, these conversations become more bilateral now. So while, you have somebody saying that, hey, use the social media and this is how you should be tackling the conversation or the session or the event or whatever the program is being held, and there's a way of making sure that the conversation is reaching out to a bigger audience. You have that there's one corner where you can also talk about the danger. So therefore, I think from 10 years ago to now, from the Orkut days to now, when we are using Instagram and Snapchat and all of that, we are pretty aware of what the dangers are, including how the data is being used and can be used, and how suddenly we have become very, very vulnerable while being empowered and addicted, while, thinking of, we consider ourselves to become the global citizens because of the internet, but we are pretty much aware of the dangers as well.
Yes.
A question there from that young lady, Can we have another mic for her? Volunteers, can we have another mic for this young lady here?
Uh, from what I have been reading about the Facebook, and I wish I had more research done with teenagers, then I could be more confident of what I'm saying. But what I have learned is that a lot of this information on social media, Facebook and so on, is used by corporations and companies to sell products.
Oh, yes.
So it becomes a way of advertising and manipulating minds to consume, to make you a consumer of products. That's one problem. But the other
It's
problem,
true, and what you search, on Facebook, then all the products, it gets to know what your likes are and what your and they come up.
Not just products, but also what you're reading.
What you're
So-
reading,
yeah, so you're
yes.
reading the list that is coming up. So Facebook is in fact deciding what you should be reading and what you should not be.
Exactly.
So it is not helping you expand. So
yeah, let me just complete.
yes.
It's just exactly what I wanted to say. Advertising and kind of even
Manipulation.
even fake news or manipulated news,
Yeah.
or using young minds to shape them into a certain direction. The other problem about social media is that it gives you freedom of expression, but if the expression is uninformed, if it's based on rumors, on false news, then it can create very difficult situation for a lot of people, and a kind of hate and misunderstanding, like it happens, for instance, in the case of Trump in America.
yeah, definitely.
And
It
some
happened in
people say,
Italy, yeah,
and
it
some
is.
people say in India, some young people are paid to post certain things against a political leader and so on. So this is another danger.
Definitely.
And finally,
I
just
cannot
very,
agree
very,
more.
very quickly,
Yeah.
finally, I've been reading in psychology journals that although Facebook brings you in contact with hundreds of people, you can have 1,000 friends on Facebook, but in fact, because there's no personal interaction, it makes you lonely and depressed. Is that true?
That's true. In fact, there is what's called Facebook depression. Yes, it makes you lonely. You're always locked in your room and not communicating eye to eye. So you never really know, even though people are liking your things
Yeah,
or commenting, but you never really know what's going on inside, on the other side.
Yeah. There was actually a question from there first. Yeah.
Hello, good afternoon. I have a question. So I hate to disagree, but a small point which I won't agree with is that I feel often when we come down to Facebook or social media, this is related to my question, is
You have
that...
to put the mic closer, please.
Hello?
You're
Yeah?
not audible. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So I feel when you talk about social media, you often have this cliched image of this high, jumpy, high-powered teenager who's, who wants to get all the likes, who's kind of a little stupid, this and that. So you say try to keep it to your friends, but let's say you said the teenagers are getting smarter today, right? Wiser, and people are building sites against racism, being human, about like this great site which promotes young adult literature written by teenagers. Also, let's say a young cinematographer who's making films on their own, who a lot of which features herself or himself. So then my question becomes, what if you're a young person who's trying to do a lot of good things and you want your work to be as public as possible? So that is why you go full out broadcasting. What would you say to that person?
You have to help me in this, because I didn't
So,
get
so
the question.
okay, that's why the session's called negotiating with the internet. And when we were talking about the dangers, we did talk about how creatively one is using the internet. So therefore, it really is about negotiating. It really is about making those wise choices. And we've kept saying again and again that it's a conscious choice that you have to make about how you want to use internet to your advantage. So I completely agree. In fact, before introducing Claire, I actually introduced myself as somebody who's come so far only because of social media, and I've used internet to really communicate and reach out to the world. And in fact, the team that I pick up back when I'm working professionally, I'm a filmmaker, so the DOP that we're choosing, the editor that we're working with, they've all come through internet. And these are people that we follow, and these are profiles that we've seen very closely. So of course, internet is a very, very powerful medium, and these are the new voices that are coming. So therefore, negotiation, therefore, the whole thing about making the right choices. We're not saying that, oh, completely ban the internet for the teenagers, and it is posing all sorts of threats. It's really just about that negotiation, which I'm sure you know, because you've asked a very valid and your direct question. So if you can think how to use internet to your advantage, you're there. A question at the back. And actually, we have 15 minutes. We have 15 minutes to have this dialogue, so we'll try to take as many questions as possible. Whoever who has the mic gets to ask the question first. Great.
Yeah, hi. Here. Um, has social media or typically Facebook made people more suspicious about personal relations, for example? And if yes, how do we tackle it?
Suspicions about what?
Personal relations, friends, spouses.
Yes, I think we're putting ourselves on the spotlight all the time, and yes, definitely, some of us can be very suspicious of what the others are doing and what the others are thinking about them. And the thing is that we can never know really what the others are thinking. I mean, I have friends who are posting the same thing every day, and okay, sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't, but they don't care what I really think. I think, and I don't even tell them, don't post this again. I've seen it 100,000 times. I know you. I know you have this idea. Why are you keep on saying it? But yeah, so.
Of course, WhatsApp, last seen WhatsApp messages are believed to be one of the relationship breakers of all time. So yeah, of course. Next question, please.
There will definitely be relationships on internet or that come out from Facebook, but well, I don't suggest that.
Yeah, the young lady here, please. Can we? She's been actually raising her hand. Do you want to? Yeah.
Yes, so
I think it's a very important. Thank you. It's a
very
very
good
good question. Not only just as an educator, but also as a parent. Thank you for that question.
So first of all, I'm not their parent. I'm not their mother. So they share things that they wouldn't share with their mother, because I'm just a teacher and an educator, and sometimes, I come. Yeah, it's a different thing now. That's why they share. Secondly, I'm an author as well, and I'm valued for them. And so they come up even with their writings, with their poems that they want to share. And the poems then, they don't put them on, this is interesting, Anu, they don't put them on Facebook. They give them to an author who they can trust, because she's also their teacher, and she's with them for a whole year. And they know that she will give them feedback, and and sincere feedback as well. And Facebook friends wouldn't do that. They wouldn't have the time. Or they would know how.
They will probably just like it and
that's it.
And wow, very good, brilliant work. But what beyond that? And that makes us live in that make-believe world that, oh no, we are great poets. So no, I don't think you should judge a person by their Facebook profile.
Yeah, and I also promote literature all the time, the love for reading. And
Hello, ma'am.
Okay, so the very interesting question here, the lady here wants to know what is the age, the right
limit,
age for
it's 13,
children to.
if
It's
I'm not
13
mistaken,
actually,
yeah?
officially it's 13.
Yeah.
But technically, actually, for example, I have twins who are 10 years old, and they know that there's something called Facebook, and this is how Mama shares her pictures with her friends and people, and they know about the existence, but they do not have Facebook account yet. So therefore, what I suggest usually is that step by step, very, go slow on that and introduce them to the social media, tell them about various sites, various modes of communication that everybody else is using around the world, whether it's WhatsApp or Snapchat or Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, and introduce them slowly. So, before they suddenly realize that, oh, they're 13 and now they can have a Facebook account, and get overwhelmed by, the kind of information is coming to them, and they have to deal with it at another level, because of course there's performance pressure there as well. So I think at about 10, 11, there should be the conversations around social media, because it's such an integral part of our lives. The internet is such an integral part. We will have to, so you actually begin at about 10, 11. And some things there, so for example, in my case, what I do is, so Netflix, for example, that's how we use internet. So we don't have TV at home, and we watch a lot of our content on internet. So Netflix is something, we have settings where children can watch their content and we can watch our content. So what I'm trying to say is, they have to be very careful. They have to be very wisely told about how to use internet. And it's as early as you can, so as early as possible.
And also, Anu, there are settings on the computer so that it deprives them from going to on porn sites or sites that are not good for them.
Absolutely. So the sooner the better. Here. So, somebody else had a mic back there.
Hello, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Ma'am, I have a question. As an online reader or user, how do I ensure that I stop mindless consumption and the binge watching that I do continuously? Like, for instance, I just check an update on social media regarding my tuition classes or something like that. The next thing I realize that I am watching cat videos that are viral on YouTube. How do I prevent that happening from my side? Like, it should be proactive. How do I do that?
It's difficult to say, no? I mean, you have to stop, you have to be disciplined.
So discipline is the word. Okay, I've been there, done that. So I'll tell you what I did. Of course, there was a stage when I was also addicted to all the whatever content which just kept coming on your timeline, and you just, somehow just it's like a black hole. It just never ends. And so for me, the screen time that I've chosen for myself, because where all of us are carrying handheld devices. So what I will read and how I will consume my content, I have made a very conscious decision of how much I want to consume. So by the watch, if I want to consume like 20 minutes of, say, a web series, only 20 minutes and not beyond that. If I want to watch 40 minutes of a film, only 40 minutes and not that, nothing beyond that. And so very simple tools. These are like, very simple tools that one can use. At 10:30, I switch off my phone, no matter what. Or at least switch off the internet.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi. When I'm writing, for instance, and because I don't want to be distracted by any notification or email or anything like that, I just switch off the Wi-Fi. Because
So if
that's the only way, no? I mean,
Absolutely.
it keeps coming to us everywhere and from everywhere, and bangs in our face.
And
no?
people
So
who are there in the business of creating content for internet are actually making sure that we get addicted to it. So switching off and discipline are the only two keywords.
it's not easy. So you're right, it's
But you can get there.
yeah, definitely.
Okay. Good morning, ma'am. Are you or were you afraid that you or someone close to you will get raped someday? Like that's why you wrote this book, or you know that you can handle it?
That's a nice, cute question. Yeah, I think I would be afraid if someone rapes me, yes, and...
Yeah, when I heard of that terminology, I was very, very scared for my children and myself, So.
Especially if I'm at this vulnerable, tender age, when everything is important and all the looks are important, and but no, this is not about me. It has nothing to do about me. So some writings are about me, or there is something in them that is about me, but not this one. This is completely about a few students that I teach, and it's for them, it's from them, and for them.
Yeah, there, please.
Hi, I was just wondering, okay. Have you ever considered how interpersonal relationships play into this? Because personally for me, in my peer group, all of my friends, all of us, we're very very friendly and loving on the internet. We use it for banter, and it's something that's very removed from our relationships in real life. And of course, you're writing a book, so your characters, the relationships between them is very important. And both of your characters, the ones who seem to have raped the girl, they seem like really mean, nasty girls, and they seem jealous of the other girl. So my question to you is, I mean, I know that you're adults, we're teenagers, we're all in with social media, and you see it from another perspective. So do you think that it's social media's fault, or do you think it's the relationships between teenagers and the sort of conflicts and angst that comes through?
No, definitely. This kind of jealousy comes, outside the social media.
Abs-
yeah.
Yes. But then the social media is the tool that these youngsters use to make it look bad, to make it worse, to punish their friend because she's not their friend anymore.
So it's also about the lack of sensitivity, which has been universal, unfortunately, and across generations, we've all gone through that. So not really social media's fault, but of course it is aggravating it. So yeah, I'm glad you asked that question.
Hello, ma'am.
We can actually just take one last question. Yeah.
Actually, I wanted to know how should we deal with all the barrage of opposition that we see? Let's say we just post some logical comment or something, but just there is all sorts of abuses and all that. So even if we are thinking rationally, and even if we provide all sorts of reason, but still a kind of a lack of confidence comes because there is about let's say 2 or 3 people, something, let's say they are not maybe paid trolls that we come to know that they are there. So how do we deal with that? Because maybe we are thinking that, oh, okay, but a kind of a lack of confidence comes. So how should we deal?
I think the best thing is to talk to someone who is older than you, even to your peers, but maybe someone who's older, can give you an insight on what's coming to you and what's good or what's bad, and how to build this confidence in what you're reading and what you're seeing.
Just to make you feel better, you would anyway go through it. So there'll be canteen conversations. There'll be a for and an against, of the motion. So you will have differences of opinions, and you'll have to deal that in real life as well. Of course, on the internet, it just becomes so much more public because otherwise you would probably be talking to 5 people, and even if there was a difference of opinion, it usually stays within that closed group. Whereas on internet, it just becomes so much more public. So of course, that agony of dealing with something which is not in tandem with what you're thinking it becomes so much more bigger. But the other advice, or just one thing that I would like to add here, is don't take it too seriously. I mean, why take social media so seriously? It's not the end of life. Yeah. So can we take one more question, or just one last question maybe? Please try to keep it as short as possible. No, that lady's been, the young lady here. I think we can hear you. Do you want to still ask your question without the mic?
Thank you. Then we're so moody that anything that comes in our way, we're like really irritated by it. Is it just me, or is that really
It's
something
everyone.
that
It's
happens?
Everyone,
Yes,
everywhere
really.
across the world.
So yeah, what to
Just
do
don't
about
spend
it?
3 or 4 hours on social media.
That I get it, but sometimes you find so much information. For example, if I'm a journalism student, so if I'm researching something, even if I'm using that mobile phone, that technology, and it's something for my own benefit, even when I stop using that and then something comes in my way, I'm still irritated. So is that technology, or is that like what?
My students always come up with this thing, and it's tiring and addictive. But then I ask them, do you use the library? Do you ever think of going to the library? We have a nice library at college. I'm sure there are wonderful libraries here as well. So why not try to find the information in a book and not necessarily online? Not always. It doesn't work always. But, Could be a balance, no?
Absolutely, and you know, the fact that you're asking this question and you've sat through this discussion, wanting to probably take away some of the key points to be able to implement in your lives, says it all. That we're all here because we know that there is a way of using the internet and negotiating with it. So yeah, it's a positive sign, and take Claire's advice, and yes, go to the library over the weekend probably. We'll have to wrap up the conversation, but you've been a great audience. Thank you so much, Claire.
Thank
This was
you.
very, very useful. I hope you had a good time. Thank you.